Hello and welcome back to Mainly Menswear. My name is Dwayne McLeod and I'm glad you're here. Today's video I'm going to call the redo. I'm going to be redoing a video that I made last summer when I was making the hack of a Hermes shirt that I fell really hard for. And I made a little video on my phone on how I made the mitered corners on the shirt vent on that particular shirt. And I received some comments from people that they wanted to see a video where I was doing it on a real shirt and not just on a scrap of fabric, which was how I did it on that little video. So I'm currently working on a shirt right now. So this seems like the perfect time to redo this video. I have to admit that I have a very short attention span for YouTube videos. So I have decided that I would break this down into 3 sections. The first section will be how I go about making the pattern using Swedish tracing paper for a shirt that may not be designed to have side vents. It's very easy to do. In the second video, I'll show how I close up the sleeve and the body of the shirt using a French seam. And for some of you, that might be a new technique. If you're an experienced sewist, you might want to just skip that whole section. In the third and final section, we'll actually make the mitered corners on the shirt vent and wrap it all up. And I think that you will see that the whole process is actually very, very simple, and it looks complicated. And I just think it's a way to really elevate your shirt making. So let's get started with part 1, which is all about making the pattern. Okay, away we go. If you follow me on Instagram or if you follow my blog, you know that I primarily work from vintage patterns that I find online. And this guy is my go-to shirt pattern. It's an old Butterick pattern from I think the 1960s. And I love some of the details on this pattern. It's basically a big baggy button-down shirt, but the short sleeve version has this like terrific little button and vent feature. And of course it has a guy with a pipe, which totally cracks me up. And these patterns can be really fragile. So my approach has always been to trace them off onto a product called Swedish Tracing Paper. And that's what this stuff is here. And you will see that it's really strong stuff. And you can write on it. I write notes to myself. This is my left shirt pattern. So I've marked here where various different shaped pockets might go. And so this is my TNT. And if I want to make a summer shirt that's meant to be untucked, I think what I did is I stood in front of a mirror and I just pinned up the shirt to the length that I thought worked for me. This shirt in particular has a really long shirt tail. This point over here is where the side seam would stop, and this part would all get like turned under and sewn as the shirt tail. It's quite exaggerated. Anyway, I have already figured out that this is the point where I would want to cut off the shirt tail if I were to have this shirt be untucked. And I think that I have allowed for like a 1-inch hem down here. But a really nice touch, if you're going to have an untucked shirt, is to have a vent over here at the side seam. And you're going to just see how incredibly easy this is to do using Swedish tracing paper. I save all my little scraps of Swedish tracing paper just for cases like this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to quickly just pin this little scrap onto my shirt pattern. So this is the side seam of the shirt coming down, and there's going to be a 5/8 inch seam. If you have I'm just going to mark it here. If you have a seam gauge, it's 5/8 of an inch wide, so it's really easy to kind of mark this seam allowance here. But there really isn't going to be enough fabric here to turn over and make a decent looking vent. There's just a need for more fabric over here. So I've already decided that I have a 1-inch hem at the bottom, and there's also an extra 1/4 of an inch that's also going to be folded under so that there'll be a nice clean finish. So I'm just going to mark up here at 1 1/4 inches. So we kind of know where, let me just move this, where things are at. Turn up 1/4 of an inch here, and then turn up a full inch so that we'll have a 1-inch hem. My vent, I've decided, will be 3/4 of an inch wide, plus an extra 1/4 to turn under so that we have a nice clean finish. So from the seam allowance, I'm going to measure out over here 1 inch. So that's the 1/4 inch plus the 3/4. And then we'll just draw this down as well. Just like that. Then I decided that for me, I would like to have the vent be about 3.5 inches in depth. So we're going to measure up 3.5. And then I'm just going to square across here. I have a little plastic square that I use. Square this over. And now it's just a matter of sort of completing the rest of the pattern, and then I will just cut it out and we'll be good to go. So let me cut this out and I will be right back. So here's the completed pattern. I've marked here with a dotted line the 1/4 inch that will be folded over, and then our shirt vent will be folded over 3/4 of an inch. And also along the hem, again, we'll fold up 1/4 and then up a full inch to make a nice clean finish. The next time I want to make a summer shirt with a shirt vent, it's very easy to pull out this pattern piece and just plop it on my TNT pattern, and away I go. Very easy. So in the next step, we are going to close up the shirt with a French seam that is going to run from where the cuff will be, up the sleeve, and then down the shirt body to the point where we're going to make the vent.